Hey, Anna here from the Anna Taylor Radio Show. You found my YouTube channel, Anna Taylor Radio Channel. This is where you can find video versions of my podcast episodes all in one place. Please like this video, click subscribe, then click the notification bell to receive all notifications to be notified each time I post an episode. Thanks for watching. Hey, it's Anna from the Anna Taylor Radio Show. Want to know where you can find me? On Facebook and Instagram, it's Anna Taylor Radio. On Twitter, it's the @ Anna T Radio. On TikTok, it's the @ Anna Taylor Radio Now. If you'd like to watch this podcast, you can watch it on my YouTube channel at Anna Taylor Radio Channel. If you'd like to listen to this podcast, you can go to anchor.fm/Anna Taylor Radio Now, or just type in Anna Taylor Radio on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts. Questions, comments, concerns, or want to be a guest on my show or have any topic ideas, please email me at AnnaTaylorRadio@gmail.com. If you would like to donate to this show to keep it up and running, you can go to the LinkTree, linktr.ee/Anna_Taylor_radio. Anna Taylor Radio, talking about what most don't. And as always, thank you for your support and listening.
Readers Escape. Recruit a team of teenagers with attitudes.
Go, go, Power Rangers! Go, go, Power Rangers! Go, go, Power Rangers! Mighty Morphin Power Rangers!
Hey, this is Anna Taylor of Anna Taylor Radio. We have an awesome show today. We are going to talk about the Power Rangers because me, Anna, I'm a huge nerd when it comes to Power Rangers, and I have two fellow Power Ranger nerds with me today, which is Roger and Michael. And we all met, and I'm not sure if we're in the same Power Rangers Facebook groups or if it was in separate different groups that we all met, or I don't know. But we all are coming together to talk about what we love, which is the Power Rangers. And the Power Rangers just came out with a new movie. What is it? Always and
Always a Ranger. Well, Once and Always, but short for Once and Always a Ranger.
So we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. So let's introduce ourselves real quick. I'm Anna of Anna Taylor Radio. Obviously, anybody that listens to this podcast or watches it knows who I am. But yeah, I've loved the Power Rangers ever since they came out, ever since I was a kid. My favorite Ranger of all time is the original, very first Pink Ranger, Kimberly. Anytime I played Power Rangers, until there was like more kids coming into the neighborhood, I was the Pink Ranger all the time until other kids started coming in and playing Power Rangers. And then the Pink Ranger was always getting taken and all the other colors were getting taken. So I made up my own Power Ranger color so I could participate because I was getting left out. So I've made up, they're like, well, what color are you going to be? And I'm like, the neon clear Ranger. They're like, well, what's the neon clear Ranger look like? And for years, I'm like, I don't know, neon clear, So in recent years, actually, I've been pondering that memory. And I'm like, well, what does a neon clear Ranger look like? So I thought about it and I'm like, holographic, like a hologram, like with all the colors, silvery, shimmery, I thought that would be some cool shit. And actually, David Yost, who plays the Billy, the original Blue Ranger on the original first series that came out, he was on an Instagram Live, and I asked him about a holographic or a hologram Power Ranger. I explained the neon clear stuff. I explained all what I just said, and he responded to me and like actually talked about it for a few minutes. Actually got it like made a video about it because I was like so excited. And then he actually responded on my personal Instagram page under the comments when I was like excited about it. And then I messaged him personally on Instagram and he messaged me back and I was like, holy shit. But he said he was like, you know, never say never. He thought it was a great idea. But it originally started because I was being left out as a kid and Pink Ranger was being taken. So, you know, holographic Ranger, you never know. There's not a holographic Ranger yet. So that's my history with the Power Rangers. But I am recently catching up from the original episodes all the way up due to my life as a kid. There was something that happened and I couldn't continue watching the series. So now I, as an adult, and now that it's available on Netflix, I'm watching the series and catching up. And I'm still on the original series. I'm on season 3 now, but I did watch the new movie, which we're about to get into. So next, Roger, go ahead and introduce yourself, share your love of Power Rangers and all that good stuff, and then we'll pass it on to Michael.
Hey, I'm Roger. I have no radio podcast to speak of, so I'm pretty much unknown, but we are in the same group, you and I.
Well, I know we're all in the same group. I just don't know which group we are. Like, as far as like
it's
A couple.
the command center one. It's the command center one. That's the one we're a part
I'm
of.
in several.
I'm in that one too. So
I'm a part of several myself.
Well, you have a good memory then. I don't know.
But that's good because I'm 46 now. Now I know that's good because now I was always worried about forgetting things. But I've been a Power Ranger fan since the beginning and followed almost everything down the line. Netflix used to have the entire library from.
I know I missed that.
That was so upsetting, wasn't it? I was mad when they took half of that down.
Yes. And it's not popped up on any other streaming platform yet. I'm like, did it go to somebody else's licensing?
I know, right? I know Hasbro owns it all. I don't know if maybe like Netflix just couldn't afford the entire quote unquote every season because I don't know if Hasbro actually owns it, all of them. I don't know how that works.
Saban, I don't know if Saban owns any of it or I know they owned it for a while. They sold it to Disney.
I saw in the credits that
back.
whoever it is, he or she is in the credits on the new movie. So apparently they still got their name on the Power Rangers. So
I think that's usually a contracting thing that Saban likes to have. Like you don't necessarily have to be a part of it, but you could be like an exclusive, like an executive producer, still have your name in the credits and stuff.
Yeah.
who's your favorite Power Ranger, Roger, of all time? If you had to pick one.
Oh boy, that's a hard one. But I think my favorite is the original OG Red.
Jason.
Yeah, Jason, Austin St. John.
Yeah, Austin St. John. That dude, like, for more monsters than like almost any other Ranger defeated more than one solo, was the only one that actually whipped Tommy on a one-on-one. Like, and that dude always came through no matter what the odds were.
He was the original leader.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, let's move it to Michael. Go ahead and introduce yourself and share your Power Rangers.
Hi, I'm Michael Parks of Outcast Cosplay. I have done several Power Ranger costumes over the years, though I've been doing cosplay for 20 years, and I have hung up the spandex as we get older. I'm 43. But actually, the funny thing is that I got into Power Rangers cosplay on a dare. So growing up, I was in high school when Power Rangers came out. We all watched it, but we never admit it. We secretly made fun of it, but we all went home and watched it and enjoyed it, but we'd never admit it at that age. So as I grew older, I took that mentality of, everyone my age hates Power Rangers. So I do cosplay. I'm an all-around geek. I love not just Power Rangers, but other fandoms. And one of my friends is like, you like Power Rangers, you should do a costume. And I'm like, I'm going to get my butt kicked. So I did. My favorite Ranger has always been the Tommy. He was the guy who I always wished was my best friend growing up and everything, being a geek, a bullied kid. And so I said, if I'm going to do it, I got to do it right. I did Tommy. And I couldn't believe the outcry of acceptance and love I got in that costume. It was just the coolest thing in the world. I had a coworker.
White Tommy.
Green Ranger,
Green
the
Ranger.
original Green Ranger, the beginning, the Dragon Zord.
So we're all
I was
about
about
the
to
OG.
say.
You're all about the originals
Yeah.
here.
I ended up
I
doing a
actually-
birthday party in that suit.
Really? Oh, cool.
Oh
That
no!
is one
So
thing.
it's in a public park. And at the time, I had long hair. I had the whole time. This is my Legend of the White Dragon haircut. I did the mohawk and for Jason's last appearance, but back then I had the long hair. I was shaven. I looked kind of like a young Tommy. And so I parked halfway across the park so the kids didn't see me kind of drive up, get out of a car, put my helmet on. And so I come running through this park past a bunch of normal people looking at me like I'm insane, running through a park dressed in full spandex Green Ranger. Come up to these 10-year-olds, look at them like, hey kids, Zordon said there were some putties around here. Have any of you seen them? And they lost it. They're like, oh my God, it's a real Power Ranger. He's really here. And so I, through the whole time, just played like I was really the Green Ranger. And they loved it. It was the coolest thing to walk in Jason David Frank's shoes. And then years later, I went to a convention, got to meet him. My profile picture on Facebook is actually the picture of me and him for the first time we met in that full costume. And he was 30 minutes late. It was a group autograph session. They were waiting for him to start the session. And I'm waiting by the stage saying, can I just get a quick photo? And this was before we had photo ops at cons. I had brought a printer to hook to my camera so I could print the photo of me and him out and then have him sign it. And despite being late and everything, he took the time to take that photo with me. He helped me get my helmet on because of the long hair. I kept getting it caught. He's like, hold on a minute. I know how to do this. I've done this before. And so he helped me get my helmet on and we took that photo and it was the coolest thing. He was so nice. And I never forgot that.
Sounds very patient.
Oh yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. He was, I said, I've met a lot of actually the poster back there is signed. I'm only missing Austin St. John and Amy Jo Johnson. The only two I've not got signed yet. Of course, Tui Tran passed before I got into it, so I don't have hers either. But most of the cast has signed that, and I've met them at various cons over the years. But Jason, I've met the most, and he was definitely one of the nicest guys. I've got a lot more stories about him. I'll probably share later because he made it.
Tui Trang and RIP to Jason David Frank.
Yeah.
May they rest in peace. It's unfortunate tragedies, both whatever time it happened, whether in the 90s, whether now. Like,
Chewie died back in the early 2000s, which I'm surprised it's taken him. I loved the new. Since we're here to talk about the new thing, I'm so surprised it's taken him this long to do a tribute to her because the new movie was a total love letter to her, and I absolutely loved it for that.
It's possible that the reason why they're doing it now is because of Jason David Frank's death sparked maybe to do. I don't know because I'm not sure if
filming it though before he died.
Filming.
Yeah, they had been filming this before Jason died, so this was in the works. It's I think the 30.
Why wasn't he in it? I mean, he lives off of the
Legend of the White Dragon.
Yeah, see, apparently what had happened was he was basically, I don't know how true this is, but he was basically saying he was done with the brand. He didn't want to go do that anymore. He didn't want to have to take off all the tattoos that he had. And he was very invested in, like you said, his movie at the time.
Yep. He was filming Legend of the White Dragon at that time and it were scheduling conflicts.
He was scheduling another Power Rangers movie at the time.
Legend of the White Dragon isn't a Power Rangers movie, but it is definitely Power Rangers inspired. I'm a huge fan of his, so I've been following a lot of all this.
Yeah, he make it like
I wish he would have agreed to the new movie, man. That would
and like he said, I think he was kind of he's been in it the longest. He was the favorite, and I think he's like, Legend of the White Dragon. I've got friends who are friends with Jason, so I know a few insider things from that. But Legend of the White Dragon was his baby. I mean, it was something he really wanted to do. He wanted to tell. It was basically for his fans. It's an adult Power Ranger thing without being Power Rangers. And it was just like something he really wanted to do for the fans. And he was really, really adamant about that film. And it breaks my heart that he went out the way he did with so much going on. But as someone who suffers from depression, I really understand.
That's usually how it goes, honestly. I mean, in real talk, and just FYI on Anna Taylor Radio, there's episodes actually about suicide, and
I was listening to those last night.
So, with that said, if anybody's interested, go listen to those episodes. There's also resources. So if anybody is listening or watching this podcast episode, you're feeling suicidal or depressive, go, there's resources. You can email AnnaTaylorRadio@gmail.com. I'll give you resources, support, everything. So that's just an FYI. But usually, typically with people who are suicidal or who actually commit suicide, are like the best people in the world. They were the kindest, most loving, giving people, you know, and it's such a shame that they were in so much pain and agony, and it's like they couldn't fight their demons or whatever the case may be. Or, you know, maybe they were in an abusive relationship. I know there's theories running around how he died or whatever. And I'm not going to put that on his
there's
his ex-wife, or was going to be his ex-wife, or was his wife.
They were actually reconciling,
or trying
to work it out that night.
Yeah,
they got in an argument though. See, that's the thing, like they got in an argument. So it's like, I mean, I if he was alive, obviously I'd wish him the best, and I'm, you know, it's respectful to really talk shit about her, but I'm saying there's some theories revolve around some shit, and there are situations where people go out because of other people and how they treat them. You treat someone like shit and you push them past their limit, you know what I mean? There's only so much a person can fucking take, you know what I'm saying? Before whatever.
And the thing is too, and I want to say this because there's so many people have said it and it hurts me to hear it, is how could he do it? He had so much to live for. He had his movie. He was so loved. It's like when you get depression, you don't see it. You forget it. All you see is that darkness. And it is a narrowing tunnel, and the further down you go that tunnel, the walls just close in and just crush you. And so I'll try.
Depression
years ago I lost my
is.
best, and Jason, I remembered how nice he was that first time I met him, and I messaged him saying, hey man, I just lost the man who was like my older brother. I need to talk to somebody who knows what it's like to lose their brother. And Jason took the time to message me through Facebook, and I was one of like 400,000 followers. So realizing I am a face in the crowd that he may or may not see, for him to take the time for that meant the world to me. And he cared when he didn't have to. And I never forgot
After the first time you met him?
Yeah, I'd met him like 3 or 4 times. This was after, I think it's like the 3rd or 4th time after I'd met him.
Did he remember you?
Not really, but again, it was still, he still cared. And again, I never forgot him taking that time out for me. And so finding out he suffered from depression, it broke my heart that I couldn't return that favor. Because like I said, when he cared, it pulled me out. And because he didn't have to, I was just a face in the crowd, and I never forgot that. And so the thing that's been weighing on me so much about him is I never got the chance to repay that kindness to him, to say, hey, this is what I learned from depression because you took the time to care. And so, and one of the things you said in yours is, you know, we need to, you know, quit being ashamed of depression, quit being, you know, oh, we don't talk about this. No, we need to talk about it. We need to get it out there. And it's one of the big things that Jason's death has really affected me on is, hey, this is what I learned thanks to him. I never got the chance to repay it. So, you know, if you are suffering from depression, don't let the depression tell you nobody cares. Anna has said it, and I'll say it. I care. Look up Outcast Cosplay on Facebook. You need to talk to somebody who's been through depression, who's learned how to fight it. Message me. I am more than willing to talk because I said I never tell Jason.
You reach out to someone. If they're not available, you reach out to the next person. If they're not available, you reach out to you keep reaching out until somebody's available. And if nobody's available,
don't let the depression tell you no one cares, because that's how it gets you. It'll tell you no one cares, or I don't want to burden people with my problems. It's like, no, that's how it just drives you down that tunnel.
And what it comes down to too is some people are just in so much pain and agony, mental anguish or whatever. They just feel like they can't fight anymore, you know?
Yep.
And it's not just a matter of nobody caring. They may know that people care. It's just that they don't care, or they just don't want to be in pain or mental anguish anymore, you know?
Yep.
There's many reasons for suicide, but it's like, you know, it's just sad. And I understand because I suffer from depression myself, like severe depression. I've had a nervous breakdown, all kind. I mean, I'm mentally ill. I am mentally ill. I'm messed up in the head. I have brain trauma. past traumas. I'm going through a healing journey right now that's probably going to take a lifetime. And that's usually like, if you've been through a lot of trauma, it's usually going to take a long time to heal anyway. And, you know, I've been suicidal many, many times. I've attempted 13 times and failed. So now I feel like I'm actually like immortal because apparently I suck at trying to kill myself. But I'm glad. But I found purpose though, thankfully. Like,
Yep.
you
Like I
know,
said, for me,
I
one of the reasons
finally after the 13th time found, I'm like, you know what? Fuck this shit, never again. I can't do this. And I got kids too. So it's like, what am I showing them, and what example am I setting for my kids or anybody really, you know, by taking myself out, you know what I mean? It's like, if I've been through all this shit and survived all that, I can survive this too. You know what I mean? Everything's going to be okay no matter what. So it's like, and life is hard. You know, we weren't meant to come into this world to live an easy life. That's why Thomas Jefferson, the, you know, past president of the United States of America, said, in the pursuit of happiness, because we're not born into a world of happiness. We have to pursue it always. And it sucks. It really does. And life can be shit sometimes. And, you know, certain situations and people, and, you know, life is just life. But you know what? It's like, you know, you can heal. Healing is possible. You can help fix your life, help yourself, get away from toxic people, work on your shit, you know, try to make your life as best as you can, you know. And even like as a depressed person, for example, I'll see like people who have no legs or no arms, or no legs and no arms, or you know, who are even more mentally ill than I am, or whatever the case may be. They're like way fucked up, whether physically or whatever. And they love life. They're happy. They are happy. Like, they love life and could never even possibly fathom, you know, killing themselves. And I'm like, really? You have no legs and no arms. Like, how can you not feel like you want it? Like, really? They're so happy. They love life. And I'm just like, you know, from the longest time, I just didn't understand. You know, here I am, an able-bodied person. Yeah, I might be a little fucked up in the head, but you know what I mean? I got all my limbs, and I'm not, you know, like nonverbal or, you know, none of that stuff. And it's like, hey, if they can do it, I can do it, you know? So.
The other thing too is, some people, when they get depressed, they compare themselves to others, and it makes them more depressed. It's like, just because you're not as worse off as someone else does not mean your problems don't feel as overwhelming. So again, anyone with depression out there, don't let that make you more depressed.
Yeah, it's my shit, not yours.
Yep. But again, going back to Power Rangers, that's why the Power Rangers mean so much to me. Is, you know, when I was, you know, when I lost my best friend, I joke because it's like, yeah, the Power Rangers came to save me when my best friend died. Not just Jason David Frank, but Steve Cardenas was also messaging me through Facebook, and I still message him from time to time about things.
Actually, that's funny that you mentioned that, because I remember it was the post I made where I actually met you, Anna.
Yeah, by the way, Roger's dealing with grief right now too. His wife passed away, and that's how we got connected.
And I am so sorry.
Through his post in the Power Rangers group looking for support.
I had
that's how I met you. We were all grieving over Jason.
I actually, it was weird, because my post is like, I always wondered how, like, what made me push through was remembering all those episodes where like the Rangers were always down and they kept getting up no matter how bleak things were, and they kept going on and going on and going on. And I was like, well, you know what? That's what I got to do. I got to keep going. And I kept going. And you know what? Honestly, it's been a short time, but I do feel a lot better than what I once was. I feel actually great. Like, I know I can take it on now.
Yeah.
And I actually, after listening to your podcast, I feel a way more better because of that. And I thank you for that, by the way.
One of the things I do is, you know, my friend that passed away, he got me into conventions. So I go out, I do things that he never got a chance to do for him to keep his memory alive. So that's one of the things that keeps me.
That's a good thing about having support. You know what I mean? You got to have a support, especially during times of grief and loss, you know?
Yep.
Unfortunately, you know, for those who don't know, my best friend who's listening or watching this podcast, my best friend was Dustin Diamond, who played Screech in the 90s hit show Saved by the Bell. I knew him in real life. He was my best friend in real life, and he passed away of cancer February 1st, 2021. And man, I'm still grieving. I'm still having a hard time because I don't have support. I
Well,
haven't had support, even though I've been through the
Get support now.
therapy. And sort of-
Yeah, you got it
Thank you.
now.
You need it. I'm here for you. That's kind
Me
of
too.
that's why I love Jason.
I went through
there for
therapy
people.
and therapy wasn't working. And I just recently went to Richmond and met Mark Paul Glossier, who was Zach, which was Screech's best friend on the show, you know. And no comment on how he is, but yeah, we got into a little argument because
I think you can take them. So my money will be on you.
I mean, we won't get too much into Saved by the Bell because it's ain't about Saved by the Bell. But as far as grief goes, yeah, when Dustin died, I mean, I haven't had any support. I've been isolating, and you know, I can't really talk about it to anybody. And it's like, well, really, it's just
I think it's a lot harder when it's somebody who's famous because it's always because there's a lot of stuff that always floats around the net. Maybe you may not realize it yourself, but you're always wondering if those people you're going to talk to are going to judge based on what they heard over the years through tabloids and everything else.
Yeah.
there's still hate going around online with Dustin. I'm still fighting that.
Yeah,
shit.
I try not to listen to the media when it comes to that because I
Me
prefer
neither.
getting
Yeah,
opinions.
nobody, not even the public, nobody knows. Even a lot of his friends didn't know the real Dustin and what really happened, you know, with his life and what went on or how he died or any of that. You know, I haven't even, I plan on talking about that in another thing.
Yeah,
but-
I want to talk to you. I'm curious, like I said, a lot about you and him because I think it's awesome to be friends with him. Like I said, I've got a friend who was closer to Jason than I was, and I've been helping him through his grief. But I loved hearing his stories. It was like, oh, you knew this guy. I mean, I don't feel like
when he died, the day he died, actually, I had gotten up that morning, which usually I have sleeping medication because I have insomnia, and I was actually asleep that night and woke up normal time, you know, woke up in the morning and I got coffee and was listening to music and singing and, you know, and then about noontime, you know, I even meditated that morning. So I'd put my phone down and I wasn't even paying attention to it. So about noon, I pick it up and there's like tons of messages, and calls and voicemails and I'm so sorry, da, da, da. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then I figured it out and found out, and I dropped to my knees so hard I almost busted them. I made them black and blue, like I bruised them because I hit the ground so hard. I was like, no. And then after that, it was like, because he was famous, it's like you turn on the TV and every fucking channel I turn on, Dustin Diamond died, blah, 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 blah. Dustin Diamond died, and I'm like, God damn, it's everywhere. I had to turn the TV off eventually because it was driving me crazy, you know. And then you get on my phone and it's like all over Facebook, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, you know, that was tough, you know, being friends with a celebrity, or, you know, knowing a celebrity or whatever. It's like, oh, you know, it's
The
crazy.
exact same thing happened to me with Jason. I remember I was putting my Christmas tree up. I had left my phone in the bedroom on the charger. It's like, I gotta get the tree up. And the weirdest thing happened. I'm out there getting the stuff for the tree, and I come across my legacy Green Ranger figure. I hadn't even opened it yet. It got put into storage with some other Power Ranger stuff, and it was strangely, it was out of the tote. It was sitting on top of the pile, and I saw that and thought, let me bring that in. I want to bring that in for some reason. So I grabbed it, brought it in with the tree, set it down, got my tree up, got it all done, was so happy. Go to get my phone to take a picture, and my phone had blown up. Everyone knew how much I loved Jason. And yeah, I did the same thing. I lost it, started bawling. I couldn't believe it. Then I was like, what happened? And then I found out suicide, which broke me even further. And then I just sat there and looked at that figure, and it was like, I swear, I don't care what you believe spiritually. I don't believe in coincidence. I swear that was Jason saying, hey man, you're going to want this in a minute. Just bring it in.
Right.
And I really believe that was Jason's way of saying, you know, thank you or whatever, because of all the things over the years. Like I said, I've got a lot of stories about me and Jason meeting and stuff. I mean, I don't want to say I was friends. I was never really close, but he meant a lot to me, and I tried to show him that.
That's good. By the way, I like that. Go
On
ahead.
this Zoom thing, it just said upgrade for more time. I didn't know I had like an allotted time to record. So it says 9 minutes and 35 seconds. So just in case it runs out, I might have to like stop it. It'll
Start a new
probably
meeting.
stop the recording, and then we'll start the recording again. So
Okay.
problem. and then I'll just edit it in all together and integrate
Oh
it.
yeah.
So, but yeah. So, okay. I saw the new movie. Did you guys see the new movie?
I watched
I
it last
did.
night for the first time. I said, you asking me to be on here was kind of the push I needed to say, yeah, let's do it. I was a little leery just dealing with the death of Jason. It's been hard, even though I knew he wasn't in it, but
Let's talk about it,
surprising.
though.
Surprisingly, he was. They used some audio, I guess, from previous episodes, so it was his voice, which made
I
me
did tribute
up.
at the end. So,
Yeah.
They did it for, I think, they did it for a lot of the grunts and the hayas. But the one that I found interesting, that the one that did Jason wasn't Austin.
Yeah,
Right.
I know. Why
I
did we
noticed
get
that
Austin?
too.
I keep thinking to myself, I swear, and I tell this to other people, I think that was Steve who was doing it for him.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I noticed that too. It wasn't Jason.
But
Yeah,
the- but
everybody
the
was
more- that
dubbed
was
over
him.
the same exact voice, and then it came Jason, and it was like completely different male, and I'm like,
I'm like, was it the guy they got to dub him when he left the series originally? I don't know. It's because I noticed that in the original series, like all of a sudden their voices all changed. We never saw their faces again.
yeah. So as far as like my take on the movie, I loved it. But when I watched it, I don't know if it was because I was tired or what. I was already emotional that day, but I figured, you know, like I had like it was like an emotional roller coaster, especially at the beginning, because like I was like so excited, so nostalgic. This movie was super nostalgic because it was based on the very original characters and Megazords. You know what I mean? So like it was based on the original ones, which I loved. I thought that was awesome. Back to the basics, you know. But they also had, you know, the other ones in, you know, in it too, you know, added. But as a, I guess cameo or whatever, but it was nostalgic and epic, and you know, I'm like, Billy, yeah, kick his head, yeah, you know, and I'm like, oh, it's Zach, yeah, and I'm like, Kimberly, oh, Jason, you know, and I was like all excited, and then it showed Trini, and I was like, okay, cool, you know, and I'm just going with it, and I'm like, yeah, okay, and I'm like, whoa, Robo Rita, I mean, she was ugly. I'm sorry, but that bitch got ugly. And
I kind of like how they did her character though, because she was turned good, and they explained this. Oh, this is the
Scared
evil
me.
essence Zordon kicked out of her.
See,
But-
but this is what actually makes sense. And I think I wrote this down as a comment somewhere. Basically, when the Z-Wave hit everything and wiped everything off, it didn't completely destroy evil per se. It removed the evil energy.
Yeah.
And energy, since it can't be destroyed, has to go somewhere.
Well, see, that's the thing. We'll get into that in just a second.
Yeah.
We'll add that in just a second. But yeah, with the emotional roller coaster. So I'm like, oh, this is epic. Oh, you know, and as the characters were coming in, I'm like, yeah, Billy, yeah, hey, Zach, you know, and then I'm like, Trini, and then Trini dies, and I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe they just fucking killed Trini. But yet Tui like Tui is dead in real life, and they actually killed her on, like, they just really actually killed her in the movie. Like, what? And I'm like, where are they going with this shit? You know? And then it shows, you know, which, by the way, if you watch it again, I noticed I watched it again and I noticed a little thing when it shows the outside of the house, and Billy and Zach is inside of the house, you know, pacing back and forth, talking about how they're going to break the news to her daughter, which I didn't even know at first she had. It shows on the mailbox, it says Quan. And then after she died and Zach moved in, it says Quan and Taylor. After that,
Yes.
it shows another
I did see that.
shot of the mailbox. But besides that, like, so I'm an emotional roller coaster. I'm like, nostalgia. This is epic. Holy shit, they actually killed Trini, and Tui is actually really dead in real life. Did they really fucking do that? It's like, holy fuck. And then I'm like, oh, that's so sad. You know, and I'm crying. And then, you know, because I felt bad for Tui, and I'm just like, oh shit, you know. And then I found out she has a daughter, and I'm like, what? She's a fucking daughter, you know. And then I'm just like, oh my god, this is like getting crazy, you know, like crazy fucking storyline, you know. And it just kept rolling. And then, you know, as it went on, I'm like, yeah, you know, and then at the end, I was just like, because it was like, you know, she took over mom's powers, and I was just like, yeah, you know, and then, you know, at the end, at the memorial, and the song that Kimberly was singing, and Zach joined in on the song, and it was just, you know, meant that they had written that song and recorded it back then, that how important was it now, you know, how special it was now. And it's showing Tommy and Tui, and you know, and then they did the memorial at the end with the pictures, and I was just like, whoa! and I have all these emotions. I'm like, God, that was so fucking awesome, and I think she has a daughter, but this is sad, and I'm just like, but I loved it. I love the movie. But I do have questions and inconsistencies that I'm wondering about, which we'll get into in a minute. But I want to hear y'all's take on the movie. So let's start with Roger. What's your take on the movie? What did you like? Didn't like? What
I actually liked all of it. But what really made my mouth go agape was when they actually used the word kill. Always in the Rangers episodes, it's always been destroy, or gone.
Can't say kill. This is a kids show.
Yeah, exactly. The first time they used it, I'm like, oh my God, shit just got real. It actually shocked me. It's no longer like the kids' Power Rangers anymore. I think they tried to gear it more towards the people who grew up on the show as opposed to people who are just tuning into it. Like,
Yep.
it has that nostalgia to it. It's the originals, and it even says in the very beginning, it says in 1993, and then Zordon chose some teenagers and made them Power Rangers.
Teenagers with attitude. That line was so hated.
Like the episode itself, like the title, Once and Always, is kind of like a play on an episode from Operation Overdrive, which is always a Ranger or whatever. That's where they got that from. A lot of people like to think that anyway. It was for the I can't remember what anniversary that was when Operation Overdrive hit, but they brought back Adam, who did the Mastodon.
The other Black Ranger,
Johnny Young Bosch is who played him, but yeah.
Johnny Young Bosch. He brought back the one who played Kira Ford from Dino Thunder. The one who played, dang, I can't remember her name now.
About the new movie?
No, the older episode where they got
the Overdrive. Yeah.
This one. They got the one who played the Tori from Ninja Storm, Xander from Mystic Force, and Bridge, who became the Red Ranger, ironically, in that episode from SPD. It was actually really weird, and I think actually this came out a lot better than all the anniversary episodes, in my opinion, than those.
I haven't seen any of the Power Ranger movies yet because I'm catching up, because I haven't seen them yet. But
these
I don't know how to compare it. But
these anniversary episodes usually kick in during the season. Like they'll have the proverbial team up episode, so to speak, where they'll have like the previous team join up with the current one or so on.
See, they started out in this movie with the originals, like the very first, Tommy, Trini, like. All right, so let's get into the movie and like maybe any questions anybody has, or things they really liked or really didn't like, or inconsistencies maybe. I know I have some questions. Maybe let me ask Mike at least one question first, because you guys are way more educated on Power Rangers than I am, which I love Power Rangers just as much as you guys, but you guys are way more educated than I am. So one inconsistency, but I don't understand, okay, is basically you can't multiply the powers, right? So it's like, Trini, Jason, and Zach originally, back in the day, in the original series, went to the Peace Summit, which transferred the powers over to Adam, Rocky, and Aisha, and made them the Yellow, Black, and Red Ranger. However, upon watching the transfer episode again, just to recap yesterday, I noticed that, first of all, when Tommy held up the sword to transfer the powers that Zordon asked him to, he said, lift it above your head. I saw like the black, red, and yellow zaps or whatever only go to Aisha, Adam, and Rocky, not Jason, Trini, and Zach. So, and then on top of that, they got their own Zords or Megazords. So, they had a different Megazord than the original Yellow, Black, and Red Ranger. So
I think we're under Megazord at that point.
Yeah. So, like, what I didn't understand is you can't multiply the powers. And then, they went to the Peace Summit. I mean, did Trini come back? Did they all come back to Angel Grove, and just all the original Rangers just so happened to come back home from the summit or something, and then just started living back at home? And then all of a sudden, they start fighting Robo Rita together, on this quest, and then Trini ends up getting killed, and then it's like, you know, with as far as like transferring powers and stuff. I don't know if y'all noticed, there was 3 Yellow Rangers. There was Trini, then there was it showed Aisha, or did it show Aisha next? Yes, I think it was Aisha next. And then technically it was Min, because Min didn't become the Yellow Ranger till the end of the movie, or so close to the end of the movie. So there's 3 Yellow Rangers, there's 2 Pink Rangers. Technically, even though it wasn't Amy Jo Johnson, it showed Kimberly, the Pink Ranger, and then Kat, which was Tommy's wife, who they had a child together, JJ. And it showed her, which the actress that played Kat actually was in the movie. So 2 Pink Rangers, and then there was 2 Black Rangers. There was the original Zach, and then there was Adam, and then there was 1 Red Ranger, and that was Rocky. And then I'm trying to think who else.
Well, there was also Austin St. John, which they had him. They mentioned Jason earlier in the movie, but we never actually saw Austin. It was just stunt double.
I'm talking about like the actual actors, like that characters that were in there or whatever. Well, I guess technically Trini.
Since Amy wasn't in there, you mentioned her, so I was like, I don't. Austin.
Oh yeah, true. Okay, yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah, but see, I recapped the movie too, and it said when they're fighting the thing, it says we already got. Didn't we get the Pink and the Red Ranger? And then Kat and Rocky are like, different Pink Ranger, different Red Ranger, and then they both say same powers. So and then it's like, I don't understand, you know. It's like, if she went to the Peace Summit and then did she come back and then get killed in 2022, you know, and then it goes from there. And then another with the transfer with powers. How the fuck did her daughter get the fucking powers, you know? Because like, at first I was like thinking that maybe, you know, Zordon was the only one that could give a Ranger powers, but I was wrong. I was thinking about it, and Rita Repulsa can do it too, because she's the one that originally made the Green Ranger anyway. She's the one that made the original green coin, but enchanted it with evil powers or whatever.
No, she took it from Zordon. She didn't make it.
She
She took the coin from Zordon and gave it to Tom.
So Zordon, I guess technically is the only one that can make a Power Ranger, right? Or give the power of the Power Ranger.
Well, he did make while he did make the White Ranger, Ninja was the one who created the original 6 coins.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ninja created the coins too. So.
But Zordon made the White Ranger, so I don't know if maybe Ninja advised him on how to do this, or if Zordon made it himself. Because if that's the case, Zordon could whip up powers from anything.
So I'm trying to remember who the girl who replaced Zordon was in the later seasons. I don't know if she was Zeo or Space. Zordon left and they brought in some woman in a veil.
It was Turbo. It was Turbo.
And she was basically like, Zordon's considered technically a god or whatever, and so is Ninja. She was on par with them. So I don't think Zordon can.
So were made by Ninja. Who's that? Like, is that
Ninja? So when
I don't remember hearing that in the original series, and I'm only on season 3.
That's when Ninja first appeared.
That's when
Ninja Quest.
Yeah, when they
so they kind of go back and explain it or something. Explain how the coins came to be or something.
Okay, so there's 2 versions of this movie. There's 2 versions.
Yeah, there's the live action movie, which has nothing to do with the series, yet Turbo has something to do with the series.
Yeah, that was just kind of jacked. I always thought that was weird.
Yes.
But the original, the first Power Ranger movie was an alternate dimension. The second one involved Ninja. For the episodes, that mainly had to do with the Sentai footage they had to use.
Yeah,
which is probably why they couldn't use the movie itself, because at the time
in those movies how they got coins though, right? It came from Ninja or whatever.
Ninja.
Is that a person, an entity?
Yeah. He was another guy in a suit who could turn into a giant Megazord in himself.
Basically, later on, eventually,
they get the Thunder Megazord powers from Ninja, which I think is 2nd season.
No, Zordon. And somehow they upgraded. So here's what happened when Zed came.
Yeah. Shogun. Yeah, it would be 3rd season because that's the Shogun Megazord and the Ninja Megazord. That's right.
When Zed first came and somehow took control of the Zord, Zordon was able to upgrade everybody's powers but Tommy's, because he didn't have enough juice to transform his Dragon Zord.
Because at the time he was the Green Ranger.
Yeah. Then later on became the White Ranger, but
ran out of Sentai episodes to use. Oh.
They actually, ironically, for season two came from another series, not Zoo Ranger, but Die Ranger.
Yes.
Now, with different costumes, but Saban was interested in keeping the brand itself of Power Rangers alive, so that's why he never changed the suits, just the Zords. Now,
Okay.
interestingly enough, that's where the White Ranger came in too, from that very same series.
Yeah.
Which, if
They
you
really
watch-
overcomplicated their editing process by not changing the suits.
But when
Actually,
did
so
they
here's
explain that the coins were made by Ninjor? Like, when does that come in, or when is that explained?
Third season.
sort of, third
Within
season
the third
because
season of the original series?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, so
'Cause
I must have not gotten to the episode yet where it explains that. Okay. So Ninjor made the coins, and then Zordon gave Zordon the coins, or did Zordon assume the coins or take over the coins, or what?
No, Ninjor gives them to the Rangers.
Yeah, Zordon gives it to the Rangers, but I think he got them from. I
Well, Zordon
can't
gave
remember
it to
Zordon
Rangers,
thing,
but
Ninjor actually is the one who gives them to Ninjor's friends with Zordon, who helped create the original Power Coins and the original Zords. And so to get new Zords, he sends them to Ninjor, and Ninjor gives them the Ninja Power Coins.
yes.
And this is the series, not the movie.
Now here's where the duplicate powers come in. Now, a lot of people and most of the fandom seem to believe that the powers were just copied and not transferred, which is why Jason, Zach, and Trini still left morphed. Well, really, behind the scenes, they had leftover contract disputes, but in show,
yeah.
You can't unmorph them because we don't have the actors. Oh, everyone's in a costume now.
yeah. But now, what kind of made this kind of like this theory become kind of true is when Jason was in Forever Red. Forever Red, Jason was able to morph with the original Tyrannosaurus morpher.
Yep.
Now, if you and then, but now
And then later, Adam had the morpher. I don't know if Walter ever came back or not. But yeah, it's like somehow they kept their powers even though they lost their powers at some point too, and they shouldn't have had them anyway. The history is all loopholes.
Now here's another one. Now, I don't know if you watched Beast Morphers, Michael. Did you ever watch the Beast Morphers?
I don't think I got that far. I know that
Okay,
there's a lot of crossover episodes where they brought people back that I haven't seen.
Okay, so there's an episode of Beast Morphers you can catch it on Netflix. It's called there's a couple of episodes, like basically the Beast Morphers were teamed up with the Dino Charge Rangers.
Legacy Morphers. There was one where they had like some sort of new morpher. I've seen pictures of it with Jason David Frank. Is that the episode?
That was his master morpher. That's Dimensions in Danger.
Okay, that's the one I haven't seen that I'm curious about.
Also, watch Grid Connection because this takes the power transfer theory and kind of wrecks it. So in Grid Connection, the Dino Charge Rangers and the Beast Morphers, except for Devin, were captured. So now, what made Beast Morphers interesting is they actually kind of harnessed the power of the morphing grid and turned it into like natural energy source. Devin actually stepped inside the morphing grid and asked for help. This meteor broke apart the Devin carried that was supposed to protect him and produced a Tyrannosaurus power coin. Now, when this happened, Jason came out of a portal. So now I don't know what happened, but this seemed to kind of debunk the whole, well, Jason still had his powers theory unless he gave them up at some point.
I mean, obviously he's
Because then later on,
the movie, so as of 2003, I guess.
Where this Grid Connection kind of muddles it up, but then if you go into Dino Fury, there's a whole thing called the Morphing Masters. And these guys were apparently, well, at least one of them, Morphing Master Green, was responsible for a lot of stuff that happened.
We lost
such as,
but keep going.
oh, we did?
He'll come back.
We lost that. Okay. But they lost a lot. They've explained a lot of the big things that happened. Like they were responsible for all the Rangers coming back for the Legacy battle. They were responsible for other things too. A lot of big stuff that happened over the years. Like that's what they were responsible for. And I think maybe somehow that they might have helped in restoring the powers. I'm not sure about this. This leaves a big gaping hole because I know the Sentinel Knight apparently from Operation Overdrive repaired restored a lot of the powers that were lost between some of the Rangers, Mystic Force, SPD, which I think his powers were already restored, so they never lost their powers in SPD. But they were able to restore the Mastodon coin. Oh, he's back.
You good?
Yeah, let me
Says
pause for a minute.
connecting to audio. I don't know if you can hear us. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, my phone all of a sudden I lost all audio, and then I'm like disconnected. And then I as I'm logging back in, I'm like, oh yeah, my wife just left and started the car. I think my phone connected to the Wi-Fi on the car.
It happens.
Screwed me up. But I'm back.
Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, the Morphing Masters. So like apparently there's this group of people in Dino Fury that's been around for like a bunch of years. The Morphing Masters. And they were responsible for a lot of stuff that happened. They retconned a lot of stuff from this. Such as the Morphing Master Green was able to bring back all these Rangers for the legendary battle that happened in Super Mega Force. We don't talk about Super Mega
I
Force.
hate to say it, but I have to for a friend of mine. Sentai was so much better on the Mega Force joining everybody.
Yeah,
I was really disappointed in that one.
You and me both. We don't talk about that. But
Sadly, I lost that friend too, so I got to give a shout out to my friend Will, who he's another reason I really into the Sentai and learned the Japanese. I miss him.
So
there was
also, as far as like assuming powers and stuff, so I'm just trying to understand. So now, okay, so Ninja or whatever basically was friends with Zordon, gave Zordon the coins, then Zordon found 5 teenagers with attitude and then made them Power Rangers with these coins. And then fast forward, so like so that's why I thought only Zordon could do it. So I guess there's 2 people that I guess technically could do it. I guess the maker of the coins and then the giver of the powers, I guess. So with that said, you know, like with Min, which is in the new movie Trini's daughter, which you know, the whole point was teaching Min, you know, of what being a Power Ranger is, because she wanted revenge. And they're like, and Zach's like, you think that's what being a Power Ranger is kicking butt? And, you know, revenge is not the way. It's being selfless and selfless acts, you know, and sacrifice. So basically, Trini died in the beginning of the movie by jumping in front of that beam by protecting Billy, because Billy was about to get hit. And she got hit and sacrificed herself. And then Min did the same exact thing. Billy was about to get killed, and she jumped in front of Billy, just like her mom, and sacrificed herself for Billy, just like Trini did. And then when she did that, she had those visions or whatever. All of a sudden, she saw those visions and memories and things like that, which she mentioned at the very end. You know, like it was weird, and the morpher, you know, it had these weird visions and blah blah blah. But then it shows, you know, video playback of Trini and stuff like that fighting and everything with the other Power Rangers. And then she's like, Mom. And then she assumes the actual original saber-toothed tiger, the very first Yellow Ranger's powers, her mother's powers. So she assumes her actual Yellow Ranger powers. So here's the thing. So if in fact, you know, there hasn't been any like cross powering or whatever, because like I said, you know, when I found, like, I rewatched the transfer episode, you know, when Zach, Trini, and Jason left for the summit, and Adam, Rocky, and Aisha assumed the powers, they got different Zords, and the other 3, Jason, Zach, and Trini, kept their original Zords, right? So like the other ones got the new Zords, whatever their Zords were, Aisha and Rocky and them. But you know, if that's the case, if each Power Ranger that's been made has had a new Zord, even though if it was a new Pink Ranger or a new Red Ranger or whatever color, maybe replicated a color of a Ranger, they got new different Zords. So technically they weren't the same Red Ranger or the same Pink Ranger, just the same color pretty much. But if that's the case, then that means Min would be the very first human in history, in Power Rangers quote unquote history or whatever, in that Power Rangers world, that would assume an actual Power Rangers, a dead one at that, power, like original power, like the very first yellow saber-toothed tiger Power Ranger powers. So she assumed her mother's powers, you know, and that would be, she would be like technically the very first person to take over actual Yellow Ranger powers. But then I think again too, since you can't multiply or replicate it too. And I said, you know, they got different Zords. They kept their same Zord. So technically it's a new Power Ranger each time. Technically, I guess just same color. That said, if you want to think about it, I guess it would be, you know, since Trini was dead and her seeing the Yellow Ranger Saber-Tooth Tiger's powers, you know, the Power Ranger, she's dead. So she doesn't have powers anymore. You know what I mean? It was within the morpher or whatever. So, and then, you know, within like choosing as far as like when Zordon would choose a Power Ranger or whatever, Alpha would go in the system and he would check their background, like do a background check and see if they were deemed worthy of being a Power Ranger. So Min was deemed worthy of being a Power Ranger. So, you know, she was able to soak in those powers or whatever, which, you know, since that original Power Ranger that owned those powers is dead, I guess that's maybe how she was able to, or be allowed to, you know, assume the powers. But then technically she'd be the first person in history to, or Power Ranger in history to assume you know, another Power Ranger's actual powers and Zord. So I don't know, that could be a theory maybe, because I'm just wondering, you know, how did she assume the powers is kind of confusing, you know. But
she's actually not the first one that happened to. There was Lost Galaxy, and now what makes this kind of important is this is one of the first episodes where we actually see a Power Ranger die.
Yes.
It was I forget the name of the episode, but I know it had something with the term pink in it. And it was Kendricks and Cassie. They were fighting the pink Psycho Ranger. And the Psycho Ranger got a hold of some sword, and then the sword went ballistic, and Kendricks went in to stop the pink Psycho. And during this, she managed to destroy this evil sword, and in the course of this, Kendricks died. Now, after that happened, the sword, I think it's called the Quasi Sword. I can't remember.
Lost Galaxy, so it's been a long time since I've seen anything beyond Turbo.
This sword ended up in the hands of some bad guys, and they were auctioning it. Corone, who is now at this point became good after in space, went in like undercover as her old alter ego Astronema. She got discovered, and when she was trying to run off with the sword, she fell over a cliff, saw the spirit of Kendricks, and Kendricks kind of blessed her with the powers of the Lost Galaxy Pink.
oh, I see. So she gave her powers, I guess, as
She was like,
well, here's another thing you may not have noticed. When Min was hit with the death beam, she didn't get hit. It hit the morpher in her pocket. If you look, the jacket is burned by the morpher, and there's yellow energy glowing from it. Yeah, I noticed that. I thought she didn't get hit.
I'll have to go back and watch that. I didn't notice that at all. That would
you'll
make
actually
sense
see
then.
like yellow energy kind of circuitry going.
So maybe
over her
that's
chest.
the theory of how she was able to assume the powers is because because the morpher became enchanted with power.
Or the energy hit the morpher and it transferred the power from the morpher to her. Also, I want to believe that the flashes of it was also the spirit of her mother passing it on to her in some way. Is kind of what I interpreted it as.
Even she said it's like this was her legacy, you know.
Yep. And again, going back to what he said, it looks like another dead Ranger kind of passed it on after death too in Lost Galaxy. So it wouldn't be the first time a dead Ranger has come back in a way and saying, I pass this to you.
Okay.
Like even Billy said when Min saw the flashes of her mother because of the morpher, Billy himself states even he doesn't fully understand the morphing grid. The morphing grid did a lot of things. It made, like I said, clean energy and beast morphers, which also powered a lot of their weapons. They used it as like a fuel source to power the Zords, the weapons, and all this.
Yep.
And basically, the morphing grid may have had somewhat of Trini's essence, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah, a part of her still in the maybe a part of, since Rita's essence was in the dark wherever, maybe a piece of Trini's essence was still in the morphing grid.
Yeah, and it must have deemed her worthy after her selfless sacrifice to save Billy.
Plus, maybe the genetics, that's one of the things I always thought, well, maybe it could pass because it was her daughter. Genetically, there was a similarity.
Yeah.
That could be it too.
And of
I
course,
do
we're
agree
all
that there
wondering
is a
who
good
is Min's
loophole
father.
that
You know what?
I'm really
her
disappointed
daddy?
it wasn't Billy. It should have been Billy. Should have been her father. And that's the one thing that really, her dad just wasn't around. We don't ever explain where her father could be. It's like her and Billy were close in the original
Well,
series.
Min is obviously full blood Asian, so it had been an Asian man.
Yeah.
Like,
I
like
really
the
think
thing is,
it should have been Billy. I really think Billy should have
I
been
mean,
the
we don't know the
dad.
backstory on the dad part.
Yeah.
Why he where was he when Trini died? You know what I mean? Like, where's the father? Why didn't he fucking?
Yeah,
Billy
yeah,
had
yeah.
actually-
You know what I mean? Like,
Billy
where's
had
he at? He must have been a
Well,
deadbeat dad.
Yeah.
I was actually disappointed it wasn't Billy either, but Billy had went to Aquitar during
Yeah.
Turbo.
But he came back, which I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get enough explanation. How did Billy come back from Aquitar? Which the whole story behind Billy really annoys me too. Why he went to Aquitar and why they got him. They wouldn't make him the Gold Ranger. He got kicked off the show. He didn't kicked off. He finally just got tired of the crap going on behind the scenes.
Exactly. That's why you didn't really. That's why you saw him as an old man, like not really him, but they made the story of the coins getting destroyed, and when he went to re-age himself, that's what did it because of the dark matter.
I gotta tell this story now because when I met David, I honestly could not meet him in good conscience without apologizing to him. Back when I was in high school when this happened, we all made fun of Billy. Oh, he was gay. He wanted to, and
I had
we
no
were
clue.
stupid high school. And then I found out he really was gay. And the hell that man went through to basically accept who he was and come to terms with his own sexuality.
Yeah.
I admire him for really getting through all that and not killing himself. Knowing the hell that man went through.
A lot of people like
just-
that go through that. The LGBT.
He is somebody I greatly admire. And when I met him, I could not, in good conscience, talk to him without saying, I owe you an apology. And he was speechless, and I could tell he was kind of confused, but it's like, no, I owe you this. I know you'd never know it if I hadn't said anything, but dude, that doesn't make what I said anything less wrong. And I can't meet you without saying, I greatly admire you for all you've been through and all you've done. And so, I mean, Billy, that's why I wore my Billy shirt, because he is one of my favorites as well, though I can't say I was as close to him as I was Jason or Steve.
And in the movie, I figured out, because I watched the movie again today, and I figured out what Billy Cranston, I guess Cranston is his last name, is Billy's last name. So Cranston Tech is his, what I think you were saying, Michael, was he's a quote unquote Batman of the Power Rangers world, but
That was me.
he's rich and has this layer stuff. But of course, Billy would grow up and be this smart techie guy and maybe get rich off of it and blah, blah, blah. He has, this lab and everything like that. But they went to the Power Rangers lair, where Zordon was and stuff in Alpha, and with Min. And she was like, whoa, this place is awesome. And she was like talking about Cranston Tech. And basically he's like, the public and not even the employees know about this place. It's top secret and we're going to keep it that way. Okay. So basically Cranston Tech or the Power Rangers lair where Zordon and Alpha stayed or whatever all this time, or from the beginning of the series or whatever that place is called, with the tube and stuff.
The command center.
So that building, basically Billy assumed ownership of to keep it safe, because he was a Power Ranger himself. So I'm assuming he assumed ownership or legalities, the land, whatever, to keep it
He
safe.
made millions off his tech company and bought it.
And kept it a secret layer, but he also had, he started his business or whatever, but that was the secret layer because it was for the Power Rangers, because nobody is supposed to know the true identity of the Power Rangers. Very few knows the true identity.
Which that's a rule that I'm kind of confused on too, is because then we get to Lightspeed Rescue, where they're a government funded organization of Power Rangers and everyone just kind of knows who they are. So a lot of the old rules over the years have gone out the window.
A lot of the old rules never made sense. Like,
Which is why I'm a little annoyed they kind of tried to revisit them in this. It's like, it's changed over the years. The rules have changed. Would have just been a simple drop it at that as a, we can break the rules, it's, if it's necessary or whatever Billy said. I'm like, no, it's just, it would have been simpler just to say the rules have changed. Zordon's no longer
Or Happy
in the
Ball.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like basically, but what made it weird is almost every show the villains knew who the Rangers were.
Yeah.
Why
We're
keep it a
watching from
secret?
our viewing globe and we can see who they are.
Yeah, and
It's
the
like-
biggest damage would be exposing who their identities were. But did they ever do that? No. But you know who
Oh.
did? Bulk and Skull wanted to. They had the right
One of the
idea.
things I absolutely
no.
love about the new movie too is Rita finally decided to attack something other than Angel Grove. It's like,
Yeah, she
why am
attacked
I
the
always
world.
attacking this one town where the Power Rangers are? Why don't I just attack the rest of the world?
Yeah, yeah. After all this time, finally she gets brains because she's a robot now. Maybe she was updated.
Other thing about that really made me sad, and I understand this was all supposed to be Mighty Morphin, and there were action figures that she shrunk down in her little machine of other Rangers you did see.
Yeah,
but
the Rangers
I would have liked
that
to
were
have
around the
seen-
world. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen the other Rangers, even if just a few scenes of cut footage or something of them fighting other monsters or something from around the world to see. Yeah,
Maybe
the
they
Power
only had
Rangers
too much
aren't just
time
Mighty
on
Morphin.
Netflix or something. I don't know because it was only like
Yeah.
a minute long movie. But as far as
But-
the speed grade goes, so like how because Billy was trying to bring Zordon back and ended up bringing back Robo Rita, and she she had explained in the movie, she's like, see, this is understand, see, because basically when he knew that Zordon's particles, I guess, were floating around space. He was trying to bring those together and then bring Zordon back. But instead, he didn't know that Rita was out there too, floating around. So that's what happened was, oops, Rita, her particles, I guess basically got a what's up. And she's like, Billy's doing this. Let me, let me get in on this. By the way, time, 9 minutes and 50 seconds. But anyway, so that's why she was like, she kind of pushed Zordon's particles aside per se. And, she came through, as Robo Rita, which also leads me to believe that I think that, I'm wondering, especially in the world now that Netflix is a big hit, they got the Power Rangers on there. I know they took some stuff off, but still, it's still a big hit on Netflix. And now with the new movie and stuff, I'm wondering is something coming next? Is it going to be a movie or maybe another series or something like that? Because I don't think Billy's mission with trying to get Zordon back is done, because technically Zordon's particles are still floating around out there, and if he can just fix that tube thing that Zordon was in, and fix the crack, he can try everything again, you know what I mean? Because now Rita's completely gone and demolished. So there's no worry about her particles coming back, unless there's another evil whatever out there's particles. But I don't think that there is. I think maybe it was just Rita and Zordon. But now, there's, if he just fixes the crack and tries it again, maybe he can bring Zordon back. And maybe that's a possible future.
I would love to see what Billy's been doing all this time with the command center. I mean, he obviously saved it, and these were the original Rangers. More Rangers have popped up, and Billy has not been back since the originals. So I would like to have seen him kind of just be this, behind the scenes, almost Zordon character for the other Power Rangers series and guarding the
fatherhood or whatever, the fatherly,
Yeah.
But in a way,
So-
he did. Him and Zach kind of did. There was a fatherly figure-ish thing going on there.
I mean,
Zach had to
hands
raise
down,
him.
Billy was the leader of this team. I mean, that was one of the cool things I did love about this version is that it wasn't the Red Ranger, it was Billy.
It was
took
Billy.
the lead.
Yeah. But there was some fathering going on because Zach had to assume fathering, and Billy technically was also fathering men or helping co-parent with Zach. So there was some fathering going on there, but it just wasn't like Zordon to the whole Power Rangers as a whole. But yeah. But I think, I would hope that there's more coming. I would think it would be cool if they had a new series come out, or even a new movie, or whatever, you know what I mean? And because it's just one of those things that wasn't an exact cliffhanger. Like, I know they're gonna come, it's obvious where there's something coming next. I know they're gonna make another movie. It wasn't exactly obvious cliffhanger, but it was kind of like, obviously Billy's mission isn't done getting Zordon back, and he wants Zordon back, period. And they even said we need Zordon,
Well, there was this whole thing that David Yost had apparently written a script that was supposed to bring back all the originals, save for Trini, of course. And it was written up, and apparently he showed it to Hasbro, I guess. I think they might have owned them at the time, and Hasbro rejected the script.
Yep.
You can some people actually talk about the script in great detail online, You can probably, if you search for it, you can probably find it. I think it was called Quantum something.
Sounds right.
I can't
I
remember
read it once, but it's been so long and I don't remember any of it.
Yeah, we definitely have to catch up on all stuff.
But I'm just trying to figure out where in the timeline Once and Always takes place. Because there was Dino Fury, and somewhere in Dino Fury, Zed came back. So now he's still out there in space, and then that's where Cosmic Fury is supposed to take off. And I heard a rumor that David Yost is supposed to be in an episode or 2 of that. So I'm wondering if that's after Once and Always. Because if that's the case, because I was actually kind of shocked that Zed himself didn't make an appearance.
So Zed is still floating out in space too?
Yeah,
they brought Zed back and recently in the new Dino something.
So that means if he tries to bring Zordon back, there's a chance he's going to bring back another evil. Well, damn it.
Zed had came back. Yeah, Zed came back
for a little bit. Okay, good. My daughter just got home, so she's going to play on her
By
phone
the way,
for a bit.
5 minutes.
Okay.
Then we have to stop and then come back in.
Yeah.
Zoom limits.
We've got 30 seconds. We'll just cut it off in 30 seconds. But yeah,
I'm almost half tempted to find out how much the Pro is. I'm almost willing to pay for it. If I have to.
One. All right. Okay, so we
Oh no, during the break, Rita turned me into a monster.
Oh no, that Rita, she's back. She never stops coming back. She's like immortal or something.
Yep.
She's a powerful sorceress. So let's get into real quick.
Rita's spell wore off. I'm safe.
Oh, good. Woo, you're safe.
Hey.
In the new movie, let's go over our most likes and dislikes.
All
So, which I think I already mentioned a few in the beginning, but basically, the nostalgia of it. I love how they went back to the basics, with pretty much everything. And it was just epic, you know what I mean? It was good to see Billy, good to see Zach, and the actual actors, David Yost and Walter Jones and stuff. And I love the storyline, with the tribute to Trini and that she had a daughter, whoa, cool, and then her assuming Trini's, that was a tribute. So it was really cool. My dislikes, I think the only dislike I have, the only one, well, okay, maybe 2, but the second dislike technically isn't a dislike. It's just weird. So I'll just say the weird one. Robo Rita looked really I don't know. If I was a kid, I probably would be afraid of her, watching this movie, because I used to scare easily as a kid. And honestly, that was some creepy shit. She was,
the actress who played her in the American die?
Huh?
Didn't the actress who played her in the American series die?
Barbara Goodson?
I think, I'm not
No,
sure.
the voice is still around, but I think the physical actress who played her passed away.
Let me see.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. Maybe I'm thinking the Japanese. I know one of the Ritas did pass, but I can't remember if it was the American or the Japanese.
I'm not sure, but Robo Rita was freaked me out. They did a good job.
I would have loved to have seen them. One of the things that bugged me is it was Alpha. I would have liked to have seen her somehow come back with the Robot Empire body or something. I think that would have been a neater tie-in to the Robo Rita. Again, Time Warner nostalgia.
She came back. She kind of took over Alpha's body, and that's how he died, I guess.
Yeah. And now we're up to Alpha 9. I mean, we had Alpha 5, then Alpha 6 back in space.
Yeah, I didn't realize till later in the movie when the new Alpha was like, oh, my poor predecessors, I was like, oh, wait, that's not the original Alpha? And then after I watched it again, I was like, oh, I see, okay. But
so Barbara Goodson is alive. She's 73 years old now.
Okay, so it must have been the Japanese actress who played her who passed.
I guess so. Either way, whether they could find an actress that looked like her or not, I mean, it would make sense, in the future to have a robot, whatever, So, made her stronger, but it was just that face. freaky and creepy. It was just weird. But I did like the costume, like the dress was actually pretty.
And it was upgraded. It was not the original
old
outfit.
Rita.
There was a lot
I mean,
more erotic.
yeah, it was designed close to, I mean, it was obviously designed, you could tell it was Rita Repulsa, you know, but I mean, it actually was like very pretty. It had a lot of lace in the back. Like that was pretty, but her face.
Rangers costumes were upgraded too. I noticed in the detail of the diamonds, it wasn't just like smooth spandex. There was like texture onto the diamonds on their arms and boots that they've added. So they were a lot more detailed than the old days, which I thought was really cool.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other bad thing that I didn't like was which I don't know because I haven't seen the other movies or I haven't seen any of the movies to even compare the new movie to, as far as like the technology of, you know, the camera work goes and things like that, because you know once they after the series, when they made the very first Power Rangers movie and then on up, you know, the technology of the camera and CDGI or animation or whatever, you know, it kind of evolved and advanced as it went up. So I don't know what to compare it to.
Oh yeah, the CGI is much better than the original Power Rangers movie. Watching that is hard now with the CGI.
What I didn't like was the Megazord looked so cartoony, but yet Rita Repulsa and her the Minotaur and then the Viper guy that was capturing the Power Rangers in the new movie, the two monsters, they looked legit. They looked real. And
those were costumes.
Rita,
and all the costumes. The Megazord was CGI.
The Megazord looked like a cartoon, and honestly, the Megazord in the very original, like first season, looks much better in my opinion than this Megazord, because this Megazord looked like literally a cartoon.
Well, yeah, the original, they upgraded it with CGI in this, which I liked that. I thought it was a lot more detailed.
See, I thought it was more detailed in the original because it's like it was real, you know what I mean? And you could tell it was like real and it looked like a person in it or whatever. But this one, it was like a cartoon.
Which is funny because I'm all for
actual costume. It was just kind of weird. So I didn't like that part. That was just weird to me. But and then
that's funny me saying, because I'm usually huge on practical special effects over CGI. But I said I did like how the CGI added a lot more detail and they redid the original scene. Again, the CGI compared to the original movie
looked great, but the Megazord just was.
I can see what you're saying.
Like a cartoon, you know, and I'm like, that's kind of weird, you know, like I don't know. But I guess my biggest likes would be obviously the storyline and the tribute to Trini, that she has a daughter and she assumed her powers. And I thought that was fucking awesome. And of course, seeing, you know, Billy and Zach and the original characters and actors and things. I don't know. I pretty much liked everything except for Robo Rita was creepy and then the Megazord looked like a cartoon. Everything else I liked, but I guess my favorite part would be the fact that you know, I was surprised that she had a daughter, so I was like, yeah, you know, and then of course I would have to say if I had to pick one favorite scene would be Min assuming her powers, because it was just very special. It was a tribute. It was, you know, just beautiful, you know, like in the Power Rangers world, you know, like if anybody's watching this who doesn't really know who the Power Rangers are, they're like, beautiful power, like what, you know, like, but to me it was beautiful in the Power Rangers world. Like I just thought that was a beautiful moment, her assuming her own mother's powers, you know, and then a Power Ranger at that, you know what I mean? And I like that overall throughout the entire thing, you know, once a Ranger, always a Ranger. I love that. You know, and that's part of our community too, our Power Ranger fan community as well. That's how we are.
Actors.
And our fan community as well. You know, we're all kind of like, we feel like we're Power Rangers too, or part of this, Power Ranger community, or we're Power Rangers ourselves. So it's like, you know, just like we are now, connecting with each other and stuff like that. And we all kind of have each other's backs, you know, whether it be online or whatever, you know, and it's just a sense of community, brotherhood, sisterhood, and just being there for each other and having each other's backs. You know, once a Ranger, always a Ranger. You know, once you're my friend, you're always my friend. Like I got your back to the end, you know what I mean? And typically, I mean, I wouldn't say that every single Power Ranger fan is like a good person. I don't know. But a majority of what I notice of people, whether online or people I've met, are typically really good-hearted people, like for real, you know, are all good people, you know, and we have this hero heart So, you know, we're do-gooders. We want to do good in the world and be good people and help and whatever, you know, fight the bad fight and bad stuff. So yeah, if anything I liked the best was Min assuming Trini's powers and then just overall, you know, just the togetherness of the once a ranger, always a once a ranger, always a ranger, just like with Trini and, you know, Tui and Jason David Frank. You know, it's like that's what makes this so sad with them dying is that, you know, once a ranger, always a ranger. And now, you know, now that they're gone off this earth, they're still rangers no matter what. And then when we go, we're going to be rangers no matter what. And when it comes time for the actors, the actual actors to leave this world, they're going to be rangers too, you know? So it's it's really cool, you know? So I love that. So whoever wants to go next, go for it. Your likes and dislikes.
Well, like I said earlier, one dislike I had was that Billy wasn't her dad. I would have liked, you know, going back to the original series, Trini and Billy were really close, which makes sense that Trini would have saved Billy's life because they were best friends. I could see them getting married. I would like to have seen Billy to actually have been her dad. That's the one thing about it that really bugged me, that I felt like that should have been more of the story, other than just leaving poor Min with a deadbeat dad who wasn't around for whatever reason.
Yeah, I know. Trini deserved better, and so did Min.
Yeah. One thing though that I did like that I picked up on was that Tommy and Kat did get married, going back to I think it was one of the Christmas specials for the Mighty Morphin, where, you know, they're old and Tommy's telling his grandkids this story of him being a ranger without saying he's a ranger. And so I really liked that they mentioned that Kat and him had kids, which kind of makes me wonder, going back to Dino Thunder, it's like, well, Tommy was single then. Did they get away from each other and then they got back together years later? I really kind of am curious what story that is.
I knew he had left, or Kimberly, or I guess,
Kimberly left him. She moved away.
And then he fell in love with the new Pink Ranger, or the whatever. And then
there was
one of the Pink Rangers.
In Turbo, Kimberly and Jason are kind of together. So it's kind of like Kimberly left him and then reconnected with Jason years later. So I always thought that was kind of interesting. It's like, she's with Jason, and then Kimberly fell for Kat.
I didn't see that. I didn't even. Wow, I'm like speechless. I didn't see that coming.
That's the Turbo movie.
Jason and Kimberly together. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is in the Turbo movie, which you probably haven't seen yet because you're not even at season 3 yet. You said so. Yeah, they're in the Turbo movie. We find Kimberly is with Jason, and that's a really good movie. You know.
Actually, interesting enough, in Dimensions in Danger from Super Ninja Steel, it does show that JJ was already around.
Oh, wow.
And this kind of confirmed it when they showed Tommy and Kat leaving at the end. They were actually holding hands, jumping through a portal, which a lot of people that they were together. This episode, this special confirmed that pretty much.
So now that just goes back to then what was Tommy doing without Kat during the Dino Thunder? I love that.
He was captured by the Venom thingy, the Venom monster.
Well, Dino Thunder.
This is another Power Ranger
you're talking about Dino Thunder. I thought you were talking about the new
Dino Thunder, the Power Ranger series where Tommy was an archaeologist and he created his own set of Rangers.
He created his own set of Rangers, like with power coins and everything.
They were Dino Gems, but yes, Tommy does create his own set of Rangers in Power Rangers Dino Thunder. It's another one of the later Power Rangers.
Did he get them from that ninja guy? The ninja guy?
No, he made them all on his own with the help of some other girl that we kind of wondered.
Sounds like to me anybody can make a Power Ranger then.
Oh yeah, we got a government organization in Lightspeed Rescue, and then what was the other one? Was it RPM or Operation Overdrive, where they were in some sort of biodome, and this other chick created her own Rangers.
RPM. There was Operation Overdrive. Max Hartford. He tapped into the Morphin Grid, made Rangers.
Yeah.
And what was funny about that was one of the Rangers actually told them, "You're rich, buy an army."
Yeah. Yep.
Which I think there was also Grid Battle Force, which was actually a government funded organization. Which though use teens for that. I think the only government funded actually like training was Lightspeed Rescue.
Yep. Trying to keep up with the continuity from series to series, there are so many major loopholes and confusions.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean,
Well,
even
when
with the
I
new
talked to David Yost on the Instagram Live, he mentioned, when he was talking to me about the holographic Power Ranger that I created as a kid or whatever, he said anything's possible. I mean, I guess anything's possible then,
you talking about your custom Ranger. I went and dug this out. I had the idea, why did Titanus never have a Ranger in the original series? So I took this is actually Jason David Frank's Brachiozord from Dino Thunder that I had custom painted to be a white instead of a black Ranger. And I was going to use this as my custom Titanus, the Lost Ranger.
That's cool.
I've always wanted to too. I'm actually surprised Titanus did not make an appearance in Once and Always.
And neither did the Dragon Zord. I was really wanting to see it's like bring the whole Ultra Zord into it. Let's just not stop with the Mega Ultra Zord.
The Dragon Zord, I can kind of figure out why they couldn't bring the Dragon Zord in because obviously Tommy was captured, so no Dragon Dagger.
But so is Jason and Kimberly. I mean,
yeah. And Jason at one point was the Dragon Dagger was passed on, so it's not like somebody else couldn't have used it either. So yeah.
But nonetheless, other Zords came out regardless with the captured Rangers. Like the Pink Ranger came out, and the Red Ranger, and
they said Billy was able to make the Zords pilot without the actual.
Exactly. So there was, they could have done it without the others, but
they didn't. Well, technically because Cat became the Pink and blah blah blah. Yeah. So Roger, go into what your likes and dislikes are real quick.
The one thing I didn't like, and it really bugged me, was how they finished. What was that? Snizzle? I can't remember his name now.
Yeah, the Snizzle.
The lizard monster. Yeah. Oh, how the Megazord finished him out. He just kind of tapped him with the sword, and then he's dead.
Yeah, I called BS. Like I wasn't expecting the original finisher, although that was always cool.
Series, they were so much more powerful than any other monsters they'd fought before, to where they even struggled in their morph forms. Yeah, and he just kind of at the end is like, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna take him out." And
even Min was like, "Wow, what a way to go," or something like that. I'm tap him with the sword. You could have bashed him or something like, I
felt kind of robbed.
Right. A damn Megazord. Or what about your
oh God, all the callbacks to just about everything from Power Rangers, everything like the hip hop keto.
Yes.
When Min was like, when Min said, "Are you breakdance fighting?" I almost died.
Because that in itself is a joke too. Just he came up with his own fighting style because it's like they wanted something, okay, and again this racist. Hey, you're black, let's
right,
the original Power Rangers were racist. That's a whole other story.
Typical in TV back in the day, what I mean? It's kind of like the stereotypical.
Oh yeah, this was the 90s.
Yeah.
Actually,
I noticed that Walter Jones was doing his own shit. Like, he
created hip hop keto in the series because
he was actually doing his original, everybody else. Like, I noticed the scenes, like the guy that plays Rocky, I forgot his name, Steve Caber or whatever his name is. Like,
Cardenas
was doing punching scenes, but like the actual jumping up in the air, doing the splits and kicks and all that stuff. Walter Jones was actually doing that himself. They
all had most of them had a martial arts background.
But now they're older, so they probably are kind of rusty. But Walter Jones seems pretty fit.
Yeah, he is. He really is. He still works out and does stuff because I've seen him in a convention. I'm actually going to be seeing him in a convention here in 2 more weeks.
Jason David Frank. I mean, Jason was still, even to his death.
He went to MMA for a while. He still was. He had Steve Cardenas and Jason David Frank both have their own karate schools.
Oh well. That's cool.
Yep.
Well, so any other likes you have, Roger?
Actually, I want to know, what did you guys think of the morphing sequence?
The morphing, like when the Megazord
When they did the
together.
morph. Like
I
when they
love
did
the
the
nostalgia
morph.
of it. It was
I
cool
do.
for the nostalgia, but yeah, it was kind of weird seeing them all older.
Yeah.
Yeah. Billy seemed happy though. I noticed everybody was all serious, and David was kind of smiling with it. I think he really enjoyed being back in the saddle, so to
Probably,
speak.
yeah. Well, I mean, he's been going live on Instagram a lot, like on regularly. Like I watch his lives regularly. It was just that one time he did respond to me and talk to me about the holographic Power Ranger, but he's been nonstop talking about what's coming, what he's working on, and stuff that he can't really say he's working on, but he's mentioning he's like there's stuff in the works, like wink wink, there's stuff coming, just da-da. And then when the movie came out, I mean, he's been nonstop, promoting it, and it's like everything he talks about on his Instagram live is Power Rangers, like everything Power Rangers. So yeah, he's proud of his legacy and being Billy. He's proud of being Blue Ranger and who he is. Like he's Billy, the original Blue Power Ranger. So I mean, he loves that, being that character. David Yost, he loves it, and I don't blame him. You know what I mean? And like you said earlier, with all the struggles he had to go through being gay and everything, on set and whether in life or whatever, everything, all the obstacles he had to go through because he was gay. I would be damn proud of myself too, being a Blue Ranger. Damn right. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I don't blame him. He probably didn't, had a bright face, like, yes, I'm back.
And one of the things too that really interested me was there was a gay couple in it.
Oh, yep. He's like,
which that made me feel good again after all that David went through. It's almost like Power, and again a lot of stuff behind the scenes with him for being gay. It's kind of like now it's almost I'm sorry for what we put you through. It's an acceptance.
Montage, a little
an acceptance in some ways.
Actually,
even now in the Power Ranger community, in the support groups, I've seen it. I don't know if they're internet trolls or if they're just homophobic assholes, but they were talking shit about that scene, and I'm like, how many times in movies, like a million times, we've heard, hey, please help my girlfriend, or please help my boyfriend, when the boyfriend had a girlfriend and the girlfriend had a boyfriend. What's it to if it's a boy and boy or a girl and girl? So what? Get the fuck over it. Homophobic bullshit. Like,
Dino Fury did something that was a long time in the making. Dino Fury actually had an LGBTQ Ranger. She was a lesbian, and she had a girlfriend. They actually had someone that was introduced a little early on, and they became a couple. Now, from what I understand, in Cosmic Fury, it was the Green Ranger. I forget her name now. Dang, my memory sucks today. But her girlfriend is supposed to be, I think they called her the Orange Ranger.
We're getting an Orange Ranger?
I think so. I think it was Orange.
I have wanted an Orange Ranger for years. That was another one I created back in the day. I wanted to see an Orange Ranger.
Well, I didn't know they did that. I mean, that's cool. That's pioneering, and opening up Pandora's box, I'm sure at that time.
Fury is doing a lot of first, like they're having the first full-time female Red Ranger. There was one in Samurai, but she was only on for a couple of episodes.
Yes.
This one's going to feature the first a full-on female Red Ranger.
And the cool thing about Power Rangers is it's almost infinite possibilities. Like anything goes. Like David Yost said, anything's possible in the Power Ranger world. Like, like anything. Shit, like switch them all out. All the males, turn those colors into females. All the ones that are females, turn them into males. Fuck it, Or
I want to see a gay guy Pink Ranger. I really want to see that.
That's what I was saying. I was like, why isn't there a boy Pink Ranger?
Love to see that.
Or a girl Blue Ranger, or
or a transgender Pink Ranger. Whatever. I would love that too.
That'd be cool.
I'm going to be honest. Back in the day, I was a very homophobic person. I'm grateful I have changed. But yeah, I'm not proud of who I used to be, but I am proud that I have learned from my mistakes and moved on.
Well, that's good. You live and learn,
Yes.
That's good to do better, be better. That's what you're supposed to do as a person.
Yep. That's another reason why, like I said, when I met David Yost, I owed him a huge apology.
You learn and grow, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get into fandom stuff. So I only have one thing, so I'm going to share mine first because I only have one thing. I know you've got way more because I see your collection there.
Oh, I dug some out for this.
But after Jason died, this was like the week he died, right? And I was like, just, fishing online. I'm just looking at stuff, whether it be Green Ranger stuff, White Ranger. And I mean, prices were just jacked up, obviously, because he just died.
Oh, yeah. As soon as he died,
So,
everybody was.
I'm in my local Dollar Tree. I don't know if y'all know what Dollar Tree is or have a Dollar Tree.
Yes.
I
I know
do.
what we got then.
And I was looking, like, I forgot what I was getting. I think I was getting toothpaste or something. And I walked by this shelf and I see Power Rangers. And I was like, holy fuck, Power Rangers, and it's only $1. But I got this Power Rangers Dino Fury 2023 16-month wall calendar. I haven't even opened it yet. I have it. I keep it in my safe, actually, because that's how special it is to me. And it was only a freaking $1. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
the Dollar Tree, they actually had.
But yeah, I don't know if you can see it on here.
Oh, that's good.
This is Dino Fury. And it's got let's see, Green Ranger, black, purple, pink, blue. Let's see. Yeah, purple, pink, red, green, blue, and black. So apparently there's a purple ranger somewhere in there. Yeah, that's my the only fandom I have. I wish I could design my own costume. I mean, I have the idea and design, ready to go, but like I said, I'm a broke ranger.
Yep.
But Roger, do you have anything to share as far as fandom stuff goes, or?
No, it's not Power Ranger related, but because my bud is too broke. One of the few things my late fiance gave me was this
I bet Peter Cullen.
Aw.
Yeah. And then I also have, where did it go? Oh yeah. Then I have stuff I won at Dave and Buster's. This is one of my favorites. Marty McFly.
Oh. Cool.
And then Baby Sonic.
Oh, that's cute. Cool.
I also have some other stuff here. So and then I have like a bunch of comics and books and
Oh, yeah, I forgot I have comic books, but they're like put away.
Yeah, I got tons of comics. I'm an all-around geek. Power Rangers isn't my only fandom. I'm up to my eyeballs in card yet, but hey.
Michael, you seem to be the one with the most collectible stuff, which I think is so awesome.
Yep.
Go ahead, share away.
See if I can.
Tell us
Let's
about
see if I
script,
can.
the script that you
So
made,
let's see.
all that stuff.
Well, so a couple of years ago, I came up with if I don't know if I can flip the camera. I don't know. But anyway, so a couple of years ago, I really wanted to do a Power Rangers fan film. And so I had my Green Ranger outfit and I got the Titanus made. And so we were me and my friends, sadly, again, my 3 good Power Ranger friends who were going to help me with this have all since passed away. And the original Power Rangers was based on the Japanese Sentai, where they took the episodes, edited them, dubbed over them, and rehashed it into the American series. So I went through the American series, found episodes, which I find ironic that this is what they did in the new series too. So, well, we can't get these actors, so we're just going to edit them out and have them get captured, which I found an episode where they got captured, edited out everyone but the Green Ranger. And I was going to play the Green Ranger. Now, there is a toy of Power Rangers Megazord, which was all black and gold. And I was going to try my hand at stop motion animation and all this with that figure because I have it somewhere. But so basically the story was the Rangers all get captured, but Tommy, who's still in his Green Ranger form, and he's losing his powers at this point. So to do this, Zordon says, we need to send you back in time to find Titanus, the first Ranger. At the time, Titanus had the Master Coin, which I also have. If you remember in the Power Rangers, when they all merge, there's that coin on the back of the Megazord that has all 5 Zords on. I actually have a power coin that fits in the morpher of that. That was going to be my coin for Titanus. And he commanded all 5 Zords at once. And this was before the Dragon Zord, before Titanus the Zord, which we'll get to that in a minute. Ooh. So Zordon sends him back in time to find Titanus the first Ranger, which Titanus at this point is fighting Lord Zed. My best friend I have out in the garage, I have the Zed helmet he made still. He was going to play Lord Zed. And Tommy goes back, fights Lord Zed, brings Titanus to the future, and he commands the Megazord. They create the Ultra Zord, defeat the monster, free the Rangers. And in the end, Titanus sees the Zord Titanus and is confused because that doesn't exist in his time. And he goes to Zordon saying, all right, what is this Zord that shares my name? And Zordon tells him that one day you will fall in battle. But your essence was saved in the morphing grid, and it was turned into the Zord itself, Titanus. And so Titanus, knowing he's going to die, continues to go back in time and fight until his death to keep the good fight up. And I loved that. And I also, it explains why Titanus doesn't have a ranger, because he has the soul of a ranger within him.
Yeah.
And that was the fan film I wanted to make, and I wrote.
That's
And
really
like
cool.
I said,
By
it
the
was
way,
just this-
time is not 9 minutes and 30 seconds.
Oh.
Just popped up.
Okay. Well, the other thing, if I can get it on here, is my poster, which I am missing Austin St. John and Amy Jo Johnson's autograph on, but I do have all of the other original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Wow, cool.
That poster actually hung in my bedroom on the back of my door. So when the door was open, you couldn't see it, but I did have it up as a teenager when the original show came out,
Is
because
it
I
encased in
liked
glass
it.
or something now?
Yeah, I've got it framed now. The edges are actually pretty tattered from being pinned to my wall with no frame back in the day.
It shows the love, you know, it just shows it's authentic.
Yeah, I mean, I've had that since I was a kid. I also have, let's see if I can get it. I've got my Jason David Frank helmets I've gotten over the years. That
Wow.
green one is the original Green Ranger helmet that I wore when I met Jason the first time in full
Cool.
costume.
And
This is the
there.
new Legacy helmet that I got right after he passed in memory of him.
Oh, Lord Draken. Nice.
I also have, this was my friend who passed, Red Ranger helmet. I have a 12-inch of the Yellow Ranger. I got a custom head of Tui so it could be maskless. I have the Build-A-Bear, and then I also have my picture I got with my wife and Steve Cardenas. And I don't know if you can see it, but I also did. I hung up the spandex a few years ago, and I moved to leather. Yes. And I put together a custom kind of based off one of the later figures from the re-release that was never in any of this series. But you know, this is me with Steve.
Cool.
And that was
That's
actually that was
awesome.
when I thanked him for the support he gave me when my friend died.
Aw.
Yeah, I said the Power Irish came to my rescue when my buddy died. And like I said, it's sad I've lost my friend Scott, who got me into conventions. Because of him, I'm the lunatic that I am today. And then we met my friend Justin before Scott passed. We met Justin. Justin and I also shared a love for Power Rangers. He passed away about 3 years ago. And then my friend Will, who I met through the conventions, he had a lot of health issues. He died about 5 years ago, I think. Will was awesome. Will had this way of he would, oh, you like such and such. Here, let me introduce you to this. And he would really go around and just introduce people who
Never-
had similar
yeah.
interests.
Well, I
And
know
he was,
one thing's for sure: the Power Rangers means are in all of our hearts. You know what I mean? It means
yes. And like I said, you talked
very,
earlier about the
special
community.
to us,
He's
you know?
very much a part of that community of just bringing everybody together. I miss all of them. I said, but I'm so glad I found you guys. I'm so glad you made me a part of this,
Hey,
because it's nice to finally have more Power Ranger friends.
and that's how it works in the Power Rangers. You network and find other Rangers.
Yep.
I'll have to friend you on Facebook there, Michael.
Yeah, y'all connect definitely.
I think it's under like Michael C. Parks.
Yeah, I
Here's
can
my-
send him a link.
And my profile is a picture of Jason David Frank and then me and
thing
my
in the chat. You
Yeah,
know?
I
I
can
can read that. Find me there.
But what I'm gonna do is, back in the chat after we're done with all this, I'm gonna drop my number. So if anybody needs anything and they just want to vent, talk, I don't care. Text.
Awesome.
I'm here.
Yeah, I'll leave my
I will
number.
add my
Sure.
issue.
Yeah,
So
I can
real
give you my
quick
number
before
too.
we wrap this up, I found because of course, where do we meet a ranger at, right? So I found this really cool website. Y'all probably may know it. It's called rostercon.com, rostercon.com. And it's a legit website that has pretty much it says all events about Power Rangers. So it has all the Power Ranger events, like August 23rd in Pasadena, California, December 1st of this year in Columbus, Ohio, November 4th this year in Houston, Texas. And there's all different Power Rangers that go to these things. So,
For anyone in the Midwest, I'm going to plug Lexington Toy and Comic Convention. It is a huge Power Ranger presence. Jason was very adamant about that. I've met him there many times. I met Bulk and Skull there. They are hilarious.
cool.
But yeah, every year they have a huge group of Power Rangers. So if anyone really wants to meet Power Rangers in the Midwest, that one has a ton. And I've been going there for years. It's already happened. It's usually around, I think, March, April. So it's already happened this year. But if anybody wants Power Ranger Con, I highly recommend that one because I've been going.
I would love to meet Power Ranger.
It's funny that you mentioned Bulk, because there's a thing you can look up on YouTube called Power Rangers Hyperforce.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah, Bulk actually became, well, not Bulk, but his actor actually became a Power Ranger, which was really cool.
All Trader. Jason Narvi is all. Skull became a doctor in theater. He actually has a doctorate.
Well, good for him.
Yes, he is so nice. First time I met them was actually me and my wife's first convention. We did Samurai Green and Pink Rangers. And actually my groomsmen cake at our wedding had the Samurai Green and Pink Ranger on it in reference to that we did together. But we met Bulk and Skull there, and they were hilarious.
Oh, I'm sure they were.
They are just as big a goofballs as the characters they played. I guess it was so funny meeting them because it was like everyone gives them a lot of crap for what they were on the show, but it's like, no, they're really good people. And I every time I have a chance to see them, I love it. The first time I met Skull, he had just found out he was going to be a father for the first time. And my daughter is now, his son is 8, my daughter is 6, and the last time I saw him, it's like,
3 minutes.
this is my daughter. The first time I met you, you were being a father, and now I'm a father. And it's like, I know they don't remember me, but it's still just that I've seen you so many times over the years. I've seen, you start a family, now I have a family, and just, it's always awesome to see them.
Well, real quick, as we're wrapping up, so we mentioned, I think it was on here, or maybe it was in private, that Netflix had all the Power Ranger stuff on there, but then they took a lot of it off and only have a limited stuff of Power Rangers on Netflix.
Yes.
So if anybody is watching or listening to this, I saw someone comment where exactly the places you can go. But if anybody's watching or listening to this and you know exactly where to go, whether websites or something to download on Roku or subscribe to, whatever, where we can watch every single Power Ranger, everything, whether it be Netflix, whether it be this or that, go ahead and comment, whether it be under the podcast or the YouTube channel somewhere, or email AnnaTaylorRadio@gmail.com, because I really would like to know. So once I get up in the series, I can, watch the other.
You can buy them on Vudu or Amazon if you want to pay for it, but I don't know any place you can watch them for free anymore.
I don't know. But
Google
if
Play
anybody
probably has
knows,
it,
just
too.
email AnnaTaylorRadio@gmail.com or comment on their YouTube channel. If you're watching it, or if you're listening to podcast, comment there or leave a message or something. So we're at 2 minutes left. So I just want to, first of all, thank you guys for being my guests on the show, on my show today, Roger and Michael. I am so happy and glad and honored that I have new, especially Power Ranger nerdy friends. And yeah, this is like a new bond, you know what I mean? So once a Ranger, always a Ranger, you know what I'm saying? We some Power Rangers right here. So at each other's backs, you know what I'm saying? So but yeah, this was fun. I can't wait till this gets published because I'm gonna share the shit out of this. This is gonna be awesome. Hopefully maybe
like I said, I'm gonna send this to a couple of my friends who knew Jason, so forward to see
maybe
what
the
they
Power
say.
Ranger group, Facebook groups will let us share this. I hope. I don't know. I mean, it's about Power Rangers. So I know some groups have rules saying you can't promote stuff or whatever, but it's about Power Rangers. So I don't know. We'll see. But either way, yeah, this was an honor and I enjoyed myself and it was fun. It was so much fun talking about something that I love. This was a really fun episode. Definitely. So we're down to 1 minute. We're gonna wrap this up. I am Anna of Anna Taylor Radio, and on my screen to my left is Roger Messner. Did I say that right? Roger Messner?
Yes, you did.
And
one of the few that actually got it right.
And Michael Parks. So thank you guys so much, especially for being Power Rangers fans first and foremost. So I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. Please stay tuned for the next episode. All right. We'll see everybody later.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.